Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie Merson and this is my online introduction for ACTE 699. A little bit about me, my professional life. I am a sixth grade teacher. I teach in the Central Bucks School District. I'm certified K to 6 all subjects, 7 to 9 social studies, and I also have my ESL certificate. I've been teaching for 8 years and I've taught anywhere from grade 4 to grade 8. I'm currently getting my master's in assessment, curriculum, and teaching with the STEM endorsement, and this is my last class, so I'm very excited. I got my undergrad at Miller's University, so I'm excited to add my graduate degree under them as well. As for my personal life, here's a picture of my beautiful family. My husband Dave, who I've been married to for 8 years, who I met at Millersville when I was there as an undergrad, and then my two daughters, Amelia and Scarlett. Here's a picture of them recently. Amelia is 5 years old and Scarlett is 3 years old. So Amelia is getting ready to go to kindergarten at my school this year, and Scarlett's getting ready to go to preschool. And so we're in the middle of lots and lots of changes. So when I have any free time, I like to listen to podcasts, any kind of true crime podcast I'm into. I like to read and I like to work out. So when it comes to these 4 stages of the action research process, I one of them jumped off the page at me when I was reading it, and so that was identifying an area of focus. I really think this is going to be difficult for me, and the reason why it jumped off the page at me, and it was the first thing that came to mind, was because during summer 2 I took the engineering class that's part of this program, and for our research paper we were given a lot of flexibility about the topic that we were going to choose for our final paper. And I think that's the first time that's happened for me in grad school or undergrad, where I've been given a lot of flexibility. And I really, really struggled to focus on a specific topic. It took me a long time. I started and restarted so many times because I could not focus and narrow down the topic. So immediately I knew this was going to be a difficult part of this process for me. I also think it's going to be difficult to make sure that my area of focus is concise, that it's meaningful for my students and for me, and to make sure that it hasn't already been answered or the research hasn't already been done. This grad program has taught me that there's so much research out there that I didn't know about. And so I want to make sure that it's something that I'm interested in, but it hasn't already been answered. As for the obstacles in making action research a part of the daily teaching practices, I think the biggest obstacle is the fact that to do that, to daily make these changes and look at, how you're teaching, you have to be honest and you have to be vulnerable with what's going right and not going so right in your classroom. And I think when you're in the middle of your day and you're dealing with student behaviors, you're dealing with implementing a new curriculum, you're dealing with the 50th parent email of the day, I think it's hard to stop and be honest with yourself or have the time to be honest with yourself about what's going right and what's going wrong and then taking the steps to fix that. So I think that is the biggest obstacle, the fact that you need to be honest with yourself, your coworkers, your students about what is going wrong or right in your classroom. The second biggest thing that I think is an obstacle is the time piece. I know Mills talked about how it doesn't take a lot of time and we do a lot of these things already, but I think that all of the field study things that we read of the teachers who actually did these action research projects, they talked about how much time it took. And so regardless, it's obviously a positive net gain because you better your teaching practices and it's positive impact for your students. I still think it is adding something to a teacher's plate and it's already really full. And then the last thing that I think is an obstacle to make action research a part of our daily teaching practices is this collaboration piece. I think in a lot of schools, they don't have common planning time with grade partners or subject partners. And so I think that in all of the stories that we read about these action research projects, they all collaborated with their peers. And I think that in a lot of schools, teachers are not given the time to do that. And so I can see that being an obstacle in your everyday teaching practice. As for the story from the field, the Julia Nora story resonated with me the most. She was from Roger Williams Middle School. And something that stood out to me was when she said, rubrics, flowcharts, and scaffolding offer me little way of keeping my students engaged or of personally gauging how my lessons led to serious learning. I may give my students, or I do give my students an X tick at the end. I know they can answer the math question. I know they got that reading comprehension. They understood what they read. But I don't know if that learning will stay. And I just don't know because I haven't dug deeper. And so that really resonated with me. Another thing that stood out to me was that she really was struggling with documenting the data that she was collecting and really like analyzing the data. And something that my school is really looking at this year is something called MTSS, which I'm sure other schools have used before, but we just haven't, or it's multi-tiered system and support. And that's really looking at very specific data and using that data to make positive changes in your classroom, behaviorally and academically. So that really resonated with me because it's something that my school's been talking a lot about. And then the last piece was she was talking about how she was worried about the consequences for standardized testing on her ESL students. Now, I don't have any ESL students in my class, but I do have a pretty large special education population within my classroom. And so I'm always worried about the consequences that standardized testing and the focus on those types of tests has on my students. And so what I really liked was that she kind of felt empowered with this action research project because she had the data to back up what she was seeing on her students' test scores. So she knew why her students had those test scores because she had the documentation. And so that I thought that really stood out and really resonated with me when it comes to my own special education population within my own classroom. As for the concerns I have about conducting an action research project within my own class, I really just have two main concerns. The first one being time. I took last year off, so I was out of the classroom last year. I stayed home with my girls. And so I'm already feeling kind of like a fish out of water and like everything is new to me. So figuring out how to fit this action research and collecting data and analyzing it, doing all of those things during the school day on top of building a classroom community and teaching curriculum and all of the other things. And then another thing that I'm concerned about is making sure that my topic is meaningful. I already talked about how I think it's going to be difficult for me to focus, make sure that my topic is focused, but I also want to make sure that it's meaningful. I want to make sure that it's meaningful to my students, to me, to my sixth grade coworkers, my grade partners, and that it's meaningful for my school. And that it's meaningful for the students who are going to come into my classroom next year and the year after that. So I am concerned about that, but I'm also very excited to try this out in my classroom and kind of see where it leads. I've never done anything like this, so I'm excited to be a part of the class that kind of scaffolds us and gets us ready to do the action research project within our own classroom. So thank you so much for listening. Bye.